Pizza presents SCP. The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle and Adam Wild.
Well, it's Nighlander from this point.
Oh,
It's Nighlander.
Nighlander for young men. Dubas.
That's right.
See?
You see?
Show's going to be great, guys.
26 hours.
It's going to be, hey,
26 hours.
mic work? I maybe shouldn't have done that.
That's okay.
Smacked
I'm assuming the
Spanked
mics
it.
work this time.
I see it on the thing.
Jesse?
Well, they worked last time. It was just the saving process that we didn't let complete.
Oh.
Is what happened. Yes.
Wow. Hey, well, thanks for everybody that watched and listened anyway. We do appreciate it.
There were a lot of Easter eggs people were tweeting me, like me holding the mic in your face, not knowing that it had no effect.
Or when Jesse forgot to pick up his mic and it didn't matter.
And it didn't matter at all. And at the time we laughed. Oh, how silly of us.
Us. Anyway, Kasperi Kapanen, I believe, is all of us. I'm going to paraphrase his quote, but he basically said that he's dreamt several times that the deal has happened with William Nylander and woken up and been disappointed. And have you actually had that dream?
No, I rarely ever. It's weird. I don't dream about the Leafs or hockey, really.
Really?
No.
When do you dream? What do you dream about?
I'm always wandering around a place that is weirdly designed and has a lot of rooms and passageways.
Are you frustrated? Are you angry? Are you upset? Are you happy? Like, what's your mood?
I don't know. I'm always like, so where are we going? And we never actually get anywhere.
Okay.
But I had my first sort of work-related dream recently in a very long time where this is the stupidest thing. Why did I even open myself up to this? Well, Jesse, it's a smorgasbord for you. So I had a dream. We were going to do a book event at the Maple Leaf in London, England.
Well, that's cool.
I had a dream.
That's a great dream.
About that. And
Can we
I woke
do that?
up and I wrote it down on my phone. Can we? I don't know. Would enough people show up to justify it?
I think, given our UK numbers, aren't they like the fifth most watched
UK's
country?
good. We have strong UK numbers,
Isn't
but
it
the
like-
UK is big.
Isn't it like
So-
Canada, United States, Sweden, Finland,
Sweden,
UK? Or?
Finland, UK, sort of interchange. And Australia's in the mix as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why did you think I would rip you on that?
That's cool. That's
That I would have a dream about doing a book signing?
That's a great idea.
I think that's great.
Like
I fully support
egomaniac?
that.
No, you don't. Stop. How dare you?
I had a book signing and nobody showed up.
And
Would be most dreams, but people showed up, which is good. It's a positive sign.
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah.
I think that'll be the most successful book signing of all time.
I used to just have like dreams about going to and from Leafs TV and forgetting things, which commuting gave me a lot of anxiety and I always forgot things. So it wasn't really a dream. It might have just happened. I didn't really sleep back then. Well, aren't you glad you asked that question there, Adam?
Sure am. Well, I think we're going to have to start talking about ideas because I know that, and I don't think this is any secret, we sort of wanted to loop a podcast tour and a book signing tour in together
It
sometime
just
next
makes
summer.
sense. Yeah. Also, you're going to be a dad.
Oh,
And
yeah.
we didn't
talk
mention
about
that.
Oh, yeah, we didn't talk about that at all last episode. It was very strange.
That's true. Yep. Going to be dad.
Didn't occur to me. I'm like
But
in the car and I'm like, wait a minute.
Ultimately, though, what do we say?
That you're going to be a
You're
daddy.
gonna be a dad.
Congratulations.
Adam's going to be a dad. Dad'em.
So my question is always, okay, you can like, there are things that people bring up on shows and it's like, hey, this is a fact. And then what?
How excited are you?
Very excited.
Did
Very
you get
excited.
an ultrasound?
Today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we
baby
should also
was-
confirm the details. The baby is with your wife.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it is with my wife. Not with me.
I'm like,
Despite what
where
YouTube
else
says.
would the baby? Oh, you mean? Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. No. So that's good news.
Very good news. It was sucking its thumb in the ultrasound today. Fun fact, for those that don't have kids yet, the ultrasound is fun because you actually get to see the baby like flipping around in there. And when they're small, like the baby is right now, because we're like 14 weeks in or something like that, the baby has room to move. So they kind of bounce around like a little, like it's weird.
Like
So,
iFly?
Yeah. Or
Never
like
been one of those? Like the
iFly, which you will never go back to because
I
you were
will
so
never go back.
sad.
I was terrible at it.
iFly is
the,
your
the indoor
parachute.
skydiving
Yeah,
place.
Yeah.
Or can you break the news of what it will be named? What the child
No,
will
I
be
will
named?
not. I'll tell you the sex
Panago.
when we know it because we don't know it yet. Panago Wild. Yeah, that's
Panago
right.
Wild.
Always fresh, like their ingredients.
Wow. Middle name Fresh. Panago Fresh Wild.
Panago Fresh pulled pork.
Wow.
That's a new feature on their menu, didn't you
They have
know?
a pulled pork pizza?
They do.
That's amazing. The
Yep.
PPP.
Jesse, how dare you ever question the wonders of Panago?
That's right. They
Of
actually
course
do.
they do.
I'm gonna order a triple P one of these days.
You should, and it's delicious.
Wouldn't it be a quadruple P? Panago pulled pork pizza.
Panago pizza, pulled pork pizza.
Oh my God! The
I'm gonna order a-
quintuple P.
5 Ps.
So anyway, Panago Wild.
The pretty. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
That'll
Tell
be
us-
the
tell
kid's
us
name
about
from now on. Panago Wild.
I can't wait to meet Panago.
It's gonna be.
Little Panago.
Little Panago.
It's gonna be super fun. Caprice isn't even showing yet. Like you can't tell. So other than the fact that she's nauseous every minute of every day, it's been a pretty rough road as far as that goes. Like I know there are some people that have like super easy pregnancies. This has not been one of them.
She having
But-
ridiculous cravings. Stuff a salmon with chocolate.
No, she
Or
hasn't.
something, I don't know.
She
I don't know how it works.
potatoes and anything carbs, like pasta, potatoes,
Oh, shit, I'm
bread,
my God.
basically my diet.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Very good.
So she's super super not feeling good. Anyway, let's get back to hockey because that's really what people care about. It's what people listen to the show. They don't care about that we're having a paperweight in June.
They're just useless.
Well, they are. But what will be cool is that it's due first week in June, which is not the end of the Stanley Cup Finals. So
That baby's going to be a week late, and you're going to miss Game 7
No,
at
I'm
Scotiabank
not.
Arena.
I am not. We're going to get
Yeah,
tickets
bud.
if we're going.
What would you do?
Oh, I have to go to the birth of my child. There's no question.
I don't know.
No, I have to be at the birth of my child. And you know what? If we
What if
win the
you're just
cup
a
and
little late?
if we win the cup because of my kid being born, I will be okay with that. I will be okay with it. I will be completely comfortable with it. I'll be like, 2 miracles happened on one night.
If
I will
you
be okay with
missed
that.
Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals between the Leafs and the Winnipeg Jets because your child was being born.
Is that your December prediction? We're getting in
We're
there.
not in December yet, so
Oh,
no, I can
okay.
change it
All
tomorrow.
right.
I'd name my kid the first name of whichever Leaf scored the game-winning goal.
But you missed the entire game that night. Is that okay?
So you name your kid Kasperi?
Austin.
Igor?
I do.
Travis?
Kasperi Glenn.
I could actually see you doing that.
Frederick?
Yeah.
Do you think SL would go
Forging
for it?
documents
Would Mrs.
without
Dangle
my
go for
wife
that?
knowing? Yeah, no, she would absolutely not do that. She would very not be open to that. Nope.
Means I guess naming the birds and the dogs a little bit different than.
Oh, it was everything I could do to. I wanted Felix the dog because I thought that'd be cool for Felix.
That's a
Bachmann.
great name, actually.
And then Iggy, she said no to, and then it was like one night she's like, I've thought about it, and Iggy's grown on me,
It's a good name.
and I'm like, thanks, I'm glad I got your approval.
I was thinking actually last night on this very couch that it's a shame that Iggy Azalea hasn't had any follow-up hits because we can't make Iggy
It's
Azalea
not-
related jokes.
It's not a shame,
It's because they're all dead. She had the one couple songs there, and that was it.
and now it's Iggy Pop.
That's
And
right.
Nothing. No one bothers me about my dog except they say Ziggy. Oh, your dog's Ziggy. No, I said Iggy.
Yeah, it's like our dog Bindi. Everybody thinks it's Mindy, Caprice, Charisse. It's like it's just there's a whole bunch of
Charisse?
yeah, Charisse.
Who said that?
I don't. There's a lot of people.
Common name Charisse.
I know, right?
I know none.
Have I told you about at your wedding what happened with her name?
Nope.
And this is completely off. I swear to God, we're gonna get to the Leafs in a second.
Are you
here. So at Steve's wedding,
Nighlander, Willy or Wody?
we sit down.
Is it going to be 6.8
Or 7.
6.9? Maybe 7.
I
Did you know that the cap hit this year goes way up? But then after that it goes down? What if he gets traded? Well, who might he be traded for? Holy shit! The last one. Are you excited? The last one. Tell the story, Ed.
The story is so Caprice and I were newly dating. By the way, you've almost been married 5 years, which is just freaking crazy.
Yeah, 4.5.
And so we were sitting at the table with producer Chris at the time and some other people, and he put us at a good table. And Caprice introduces herself to all these people, and one of the people who shall remain nameless was like, Caprice, like the pants,
Oh my god.
as in like capris.
Oh my god.
And I was like, no, more like the rusty Chevy, the Caprice,
Oh my.
which is a real car.
Or like the juice. Capri. Son.
Oh,
Capri.
wow.
Oh my goodness! If you have a son, that baby will be Capri's son.
That's true. That's funny. That could be an amazing first Halloween costume.
A little wrapped up Capri son.
Oh my God, that's funny.
I love it.
Yeah, that's hilarious. That's good. I like that. Jesse doesn't like that
In
as
a
much.
Panago pizza box.
Absolutely.
And everyone just discovered that my wedding was open bar.
That's right. So Kasperi Kapanen is everybody. Wakes up disappointed every day that this has not happened. Here's the question. I don't think that it's likely. I'm contextualizing my question here. We'll get to it in a second. I don't think it's likely that the Leafs go through tomorrow and not sign him. I think it's like at the end of the day, you kind of go, well, we'll just sign you for this year and we'll figure it out.
I think they make us sweat.
But I wonder if...
Might break during the show. Who knows?
Yeah, it could break during the show. Won't. Don't think it will.
No.
We're never going to be that lucky. But you have to think Nylander's going to play. And I think Stephen Birch had a really good observation. I want to know what you two think of this.
Okay.
He said...
How many numbers were in this observation?
This tweet was several paragraphs long. Sorry, Stephen. You know I love you, man. You do need a blog, though. If you've waited this...
We've had that conversation, by the way.
Have
it was
you?
basically, hey, man, you should do this in a blog. And he said, no.
I'd rather give it away for free.
And he just kept tweeting.
No, there you go. No, but he had a really good observation. He's like, if you waited this long to sign the contract, why wouldn't you wait till Saturday?
Yeah, I guess.
And the reason he's saying that is cap savings.
It's really not a huge difference.
Sure, but if it's $30,000, which it probably would
it's
be,
at least something.
Yeah,
It's
every
still-
day it's $1.
well, and they taxi guys back to the Marlies, like they did it last year. I forget who it was with, but
They
they'll
nickel and dime it.
absolutely
Yeah.
they do because they want every single penny.
Jesse, can you go to Cap Friendly and look at the teams that are the closest to the cap? Because there are a bunch of teams that are within $250,000.
And let's think about this for a second. Why $250,000? I'm glad you brought that up. That bonus, the 2-1-2 bonus, the 2-1-2 500 bonus that if you get for scoring 30 goals or the rookie bonuses, right? 1 week of Nylander's perceived salary is $250,000. So by not signing him this week, they can pay, a Matthews bonus or a Marner bonus. Just by not signing him for 1 week, because now those guys will hit several bonuses, but those $30,000 things do make a difference at the end, and even if they don't, at least you had them.
Now, the conspiracy theory that has been thrown out on Twitter this week has been that this has been Dubas's plan the entire time.
No.
And he's told Nylander that he wants him to sit out till December so that he can
I'm sure
get the cap
Absolutely not.
savings.
I'm sure Nylander's camp's super cool with not making millions of
It's
dollars.
not that he told him explicitly. It's just that he's made the negotiations difficult, and he hasn't confirmed the contract so that he can make all these cap savings.
I don't believe that for a minute, nor do I believe anyone has anything on this.
But, Steven, Twitter said it.
Well, okay, I'll believe it if Reddit said it.
Well, that's what happened today.
If
So,
Reddit said it, I'll believe it. Twitter, to hell with you.
there is a Reddit
Deleted it off my phone again.
going
To hell.
around that says basically Grapefruit Spoons was the guy's name. He's now deleted his account after posting this. Thank you for acting a fool and for pointing this out. But Grapefruit Spoons actually was the Redditor that broke the Tyler Ennis signing, the much vaunted Tyler Ennis signing, before anybody else had it, which, I mean, hey, good for him.
Cool. That's like the time a guy on HF boards broke the Brett Lebda signing. They only break the biggest.
So
Brett
people are like,
Lebda of Leaf fame.
he broke that one signing. What if he knows something about the other one? Well, first off, I mean, he said basically that the Leafs will have him signed to $7 million over 6 years. Nobody worry. And I got a text message from someone who's in the know.
Oh, shoot.
Who would have insights in this situation.
Gosh darn.
And they said
What did
that
Jesse say?
post is very interesting because basically the person that wrote it put literally nothing on the line. Anybody could have tweeted that because that has been the number. The guy said, I think, was it 685 to 7 million or something like that?
So?
He said that has been the number the entire time.
I should just get Twitter back on my phone and tweet, I'm hearing the Leafs and Nylander are done about 6.9 times 6.
And you'll
What's on the
probably
line?
be in the ballpark.
Well, remember that account that everybody thought was predicting like Beyonce will have a boy, and it'll say,
Yeah.
and then people were retweeting it later. It's because the account put Beyonce will have a boy, Beyonce will have a girl,
Yeah.
and then once Beyonce had a boy, they deleted it, and it was from 6 months previous, right? So they'd
They're
written
like,
it 6
"Look
months
what
ago.
I did."
Oh, I predicted it. And Twitter went nuts, and they were like, oh no, this is very easy to do. You all got Twittered.
Like, dude, I was the first to know many years ago that the Leafs were going to call up Chris Newbury from the Toronto Marlies. I'm an insider. Like, that's the thing. You can't just be right once.
No, to be an insider, it's a regular thing, and it's ongoing. And then the second you're not an insider anymore, you're not an insider. As in the second you stop dropping inside information, you're not an insider anymore.
Basically.
So it's really interesting to see Leafs Twitter kind of melt down. However, I think Stephen Birch makes a good point. If you were going to sign him, or you're going to announce the signing, or you're going to make the signing, you can sign a contract and say it's, you can sign a contract on November 30th, which is today, but in the writing it says doesn't start till December 1st. So it could already be signed. Maybe it's not, but it could already be signed, but it only actually kicks into gear December 1st. And maybe they had this signed a week ago. We don't know. Nobody knows.
It's concerning to me that he's still in Sweden.
It doesn't concern me at all.
Well, sorry. I shouldn't say concerning. It's odd to me because, like, if they did have this sort of handshake agreement in place, like, wouldn't he be in Toronto right now? Or, like, wouldn't he have taken a plane? Wouldn't he be on a plane right now?
Are
No.
you concerned?
No.
No, I don't
It's
think it
gonna
would
happen.
Well, they've got DocuSign and fax machines. It's pretty easy. And the other thing is,
Yeah, but he's got to play.
well, he's not
got to be here to
even
play.
if he signed tomorrow, he's not playing tomorrow.
Well, this is the thing, right? So even if he signs tomorrow, is he going to play Tuesday?
No. They said Babcock, I believe, said in the press conference it'd be a couple weeks.
And how will he ever?
Weeks?
Yeah, he's got to
my
get up to
God.
speed now.
And how will he ever get here? Like, will he have to take a train? Will
Oh,
they drive
man.
him? Because I
Does
just
Sweden
don't
have electricity?
I don't know how players get around anymore.
Ski-Doo.
Do you
Ski-Doo with
remember
his
when you
man bun
forgot?
blowing in the Atlantic salt air.
Do you remember when you forgot how they
Nope.
could fly players places?
Don't recall. Don't recall.
I don't think it's a concern that he's overseas because planes exist.
Yes,
and, you
and
can get
especially
here
the Leafs.
within a day.
The Leafs charter have a couple charter jets, I believe. Now,
Which we were on. So it doesn't
no,
necessarily
that's
mean
not
anything.
that's not a team. That's the Air Canada. They actually have a private Learjet.
I thought
No,
they
we
said
were
it was
on
they
the
said
Leafs
it was the
plane.
Yeah.
You remember because they left
No,
it
that's
here?
the players' plane.
Yeah.
No, they have a corporate.
Oh, another one you're
Learjet.
talking
That's
about.
not a. We were not on a Learjet. We were on a passenger 747.
That the players take.
You know, like the Learjet that you would see in a rap video.
Oh, with the stairs.
Yeah, they have one of those in a rap video.
You had to
In
say, if
one
you
of those
said
hip-hop
one of those
videos.
planes with the stairs, I would have known.
They have one.
As an MLSE employee, have you been on it?
I have not, and I'm not an employee. I'm a freelance
What does
contractor.
Brendan Shanahan smell like?
It's a good idea. I've like come across him in the hallways a few times, but I've been too scared to introduce myself. Not too scared, just like this is like he's working.
Don't lie to me.
Don't
Adam.
do that.
It's
Don't talk.
gingerbread.
I also
you
saw
spoken
Lou
to-
last year, and I was like, whoa.
Have you spoken to Shani?
Have I spoken to him? No.
No.
He
No.
smells like gingerbread.
Everybody that does says great things, but I'm like, the guy's working. Like, I'm not gonna go talk to him.
It's gingerbread.
I found it the other day. I have a signed puck from him.
You do?
A Leafs puck.
Where did you get this?
I had him sign it one time. He was in the hall at the Fan Fest.
You had him sign it.
At Fan Fest, whichever one. I think it was the 2016 Fan Fest.
And that's the one where you waited in line and got
Wasn't that
nothing.
the
I
bad
waited in
one?
line- that was the worst one ever.
Yeah.
Where they didn't population control it, and they just sold tickets to everyone and just said, come, and then there was a line around the block for like 2 hours. Anyways, he was walking the hall and he was signing a bunch of autographs for little kids, and I stuck a puck in there and he signed it.
It's just Jesse and the little kids.
Yeah.
How did you fit in with the little kids, Jesse? Who's
Imagine
6'4"?
seeing this
That's so
friggin'
funny.
Do you find something comical about the size of my automobile, ass man? That's hilarious.
I forgot I had that, and I remember that the other day.
That's
Bless you for
Random
doing that,
story.
Jesse. Bless you.
well. That's good. Did Brendan Shanahan talk to you when he signed your puck?
He did not. He looked not wanting to sign my puck. Is
Well,
the expression he gave.
He probably thought you were going to sell it.
yeah,
which is-
and
Usually, what
I didn't.
anybody your age getting anything signed does, unless they're Steve, is they sell it.
Not even responding to that.
Well, you know, it's true.
Little did he know that
Yeah.
I am also a giant nerd.
Like,
I kept the puck.
I gave you a signed Saran Knoll puck from the Gens.
I have that. I found that the other day as well.
And now Sportsnet's like doing a feature on him, and it looks like he's like legit. And I'm
Nice.
like, can I have that puck back? No, you keep your Saran Knoll puck.
I think he wants it back.
Christmas present.
I'm gonna give it back to him.
Don't you dare!
Give it back to him. Just give
No,
it
you're
back to him.
not. No, you're
I
not.
just
You
found
make him
my
upset.
Christmas gift.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be
For
very
Steve.
upset.
Because you could sell it for $20 online, but to Steve, priceless. Mm-hmm. Right?
Shut up. You're not giving me that puck. You're not. I don't want your Saran Knoll puck.
But why? Okay, it seems like you've got an internal battle going on right now. Because I think you do want the puck.
No.
You wouldn't have said you didn't want the puck if you didn't want it.
No, but now I'm getting to this Adam Wild point where I just need to start pawning things off on people because I have too many things. I have all these collectibles. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, what am I
You
going
have
to
an
do with a
entire basement
Saran
to fill
Knoll
them with.
puck? I know, and now it's full.
Well, here's what you do: is
My
you
Josh Donaldson picture and figure they're not even hung up anywhere. They're in a bag. I met Josh Donaldson.
Atlanta Braves great Josh
Atlanta
Donaldson,
Braves.
$23 million a year. Josh Donaldson, crazy, eh?
That's a lot of money.
Big money for a guy that barely played.
I'm just going to say you should have stuck with baseball.
I don't know. I think podcasting producing is a lot more lucrative.
Oh, big money!
Yeah.
Big money!
You guys don't know how much I'm making from this.
Big money.
24 million.
I mean, you get a podcasting career, and we get a friend who's really good at opening things. So,
You do have strong fingers.
yeah.
It's true. Whenever I need
So, I
something
mean,
open.
who's the real winner?
Josh Donaldson.
Josh
Josh
Donaldson.
Donaldson is actually the big winner. By the way, it's Selly season. It is still Selly season for Budweiser, so make sure you get your hashtag linked up. We're going to do something different. I know I said that last week. I got my weeks wrong. This week is the last week for your Selly season video, so make sure tomorrow when Nylander signs, we get your Selly. Tag at Budweiser Canada, tag Steve, tag Jesse, tag myself. Use the hashtag Selly Season, SZN, and
Season.
we can hook you up with Budweiser Red Light. Also, if you want to buy one, the promo code Dangle at Budweiser.ca will give you $5 off.
Hooray.
Yay. But let's talk about the Leafs Sharks. Nothing to talk about with Nylander. There literally hasn't been any Nylander news. Somehow we've been able to make a topic of it, but there hasn't been any new Nylander news since he sat out the first game. Like that was the last time there was something actually. Oh, will he sit out? Will he not? Well, he did.
Pretty much.
That was the last time anything happened.
Pretty much. Well, remember it was... He's asking for 8. 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 He'll take 6.8. What? Like, I remember that was like, what, a week or two ago?
Yeah.
And I go, I'm sorry. When did this extraordinarily sharp and abrupt
That
change
was.
happen?
That's a good point. Not enough was made of that.
Yeah, well, dude, I'll go back to what I said a few minutes ago. I don't actually think anyone has the inside track on this. I just don't believe it. Okay. Who of Brendan Shanahan, Kyle Dubas, Lawrence Gilman, and Brandon Pridham is leaking anything to anyone?
Nobody. Louis Gross isn't. Michael Nylander for sure isn't.
Any information would be coming from that side,
And they're not doing it.
and it doesn't sound like they're doing it.
You know what's interesting is people are so hard up for information on this, and just to support your point here, Frank Zaravelli put out a tweet today, and I don't doubt that he's wrong.
He's a great reporter, Frank
But he
Zaravelli.
said Paul Holmgren and Kyle Dubas have spoken. Doesn't look like there's a fit there, but they have spoken.
Yeah, and you know where he got that from?
Paul Holmgren.
Paul Holmgren, like the Flyers. He's someone in the Flyers.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, and also he used to be a Philly reporter. I don't really understand what's going on there because Frank Zaravelli works for TSN, but like, is he TSN's Flyers reporter or? I don't really understand.
Well, I don't know
He
either.
used to be like a local guy there. Now
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know what's going on. But hey, you sort of brought that up last show.
What's that?
The Leafs should be calling the Flyers.
Yes.
because they're in a crazy little mood.
They are. And we'll talk about
Be
them
interesting.
in just a little bit because there's some
Starts with
interesting
Provorov.
stuff. But I want to start with last game, Leafs versus Sharks. Steve, I have to run to the bathroom here.
That's great, man.
But I want to start with what you saw, and then I'll come right back. I want to talk about like what you saw during the game that you liked, what you didn't like. It was a pretty dominant performance against a team that the Leafs really didn't have a lot of success against up until recently.
Yeah, well, I mean,
right back.
the Sharks. It's still. I mean, I don't think this is going to bring any comfort to any Sharks fan. Are you? What are you going to cross swords? Where are you going? Jesse's leaving. He's changing the friggin'. He's changing the camera. Anyway, I didn't think. Ladies, there's a term called crossing swords, and it's when... Never mind. Listen, I don't know if this is going to bring any comfort to any Sharks fans because I still don't understand why they're bad. Aaron Dell, I don't think, was terrible in this one. Honestly, the Sharks look fast. Their offense looks dangerous. Joe Pavelski is incredible. He's such a consistent Leaf killer. Their power play is great. Their penalty kill was terrible against the Leafs, but I saw it's heading into the game. It was the number 1 ranked unit in the league. I think the problem is their defense. That or it's just bad luck. I know Martin Jones isn't having the greatest start to his season or whatever. Sean Tierney's
I want to see if you could do that.
Buddy, you know I can. You know I can.
He did it.
Charting hockey was showed on a chart, like in terms of basically Corsi for and against. The Hurricanes and Sharks are sort of in a league of their own. I don't know why they're bad. I will say this, though. After the game, what a defeated group of human beings. Evander Kane looked like a puppy dog on the ice. Logan Couture was like brokenhearted. Erik Karlsson obviously had his little tiff with the Toronto media, which isn't a person or group of people. It's just a gelatinous amoeba-like creature.
It's the thing. It's just a Mobius thing.
And the only way to kill it is with a silver stake to the heart. Anyway, they just look like a utterly defeated group of humans, and I don't know why.
It's funny that you said their defense is the problem. When coming into the season, you'd be like, that's the best
I'm shocked.
defense in hockey outside of Nashville.
Well, and Karlsson, I know, was on the ice for at least one of the goals against. It was on the PK, which is weird. So one thing I maybe should have looked into a little more was the knock on Karlsson when he was winning the Norris was he doesn't kill penalties. Mm-hmm. Well, he's killing penalties for the Sharks, and they're the number 1 unit in the league. They got eaten alive by the Leafs. But I just remember he was on the ice for at least 1 goal in this game. No, it would have been at least 2, I think. And the Leafs ate him alive when he was with the Sens too. And they're 2 completely different teams. Like, I don't know if anyone in the National Hockey League is spending more money right now than Erik Karlsson. You're going to sign him to $11 million for 8 years? Crazy.
I think it was, I forget who was doing, I think it might have been Merrick, but he was saying that some of the guys might have just figured him out and that he can't turn right that well. So the way to beat Karlsson, just kind of go right and make him turn that way. And a lot of guys have been doing that this season, so he's been exposed more and more, and then that in turn exposes the rest of the defense.
So Merrick said that on 31 Thoughts.
Yes.
So 31 Thoughts doesn't have the visual component. They could work that in.
Yeah.
I want to see that.
Yeah.
Like, that should be a Hockey Night segment tomorrow. Mm-hmm. When, by the way, Karlsson visits Ottawa for the first time since the trade. That would be great to see. I would really like to see a
I don't know the visuals on if that's accurate or
it'd be
fascinating. Yeah.
I talked about this years ago when I had my 2.5 month cup of coffee at the NHL Network. Bob McKenzie would write these long features and he would narrate his script, and it was your job to go find the footage of what he was talking about. And he was talking about this very specific thing Alex Ovechkin was doing on the left wing versus the right. And I'm like, how the hell am I going to find this? And it took forever. I'd be very interested to see that with Erik Karlsson, because that's, I mean, man, if the guy's having trouble turning right, that seems like a pretty important thing, don't you?
But it's not like he has trouble turning right. It's that he has trouble turning right in the most elite setting of the elite setting.
Right.
He's just a millisecond behind of where he should be in order to keep up with the offensive player.
It's interesting. Does not seem like a happy camper right now.
Here's how scary good the Leafs are, and this is from somebody inside the NHL.
Okay.
Who we know. This person texted us this morning. Want to know how scary good the Leafs are? Their power play is top 5. Their 5-on-5 goals against is 4th, and their 5-on-5 goals for is 4th. That's obscene. No team is even close. To have all 3 of those metrics in the top 5 is pretty incredible.
Man, a lot of their shots are going in. Just don't talk to Nazem Kadri. Their goaltending has been incredible. Poor Naz.
Yeah, really. Little snake bitten.
You know he's still going to end with like at least 20 goals, right?
Oh, 100%.
It's just going to go in these ridiculous goals.
So here's the thing.
5 goals in 5 games. No goals.
It could be one of the other like I'm sure in a month we could be talking about, and I'm just picking a name out of the air here, but Mitch Marner hasn't had three assists in a game in like a week. And then a guy like Nazem Kadri steps up. That's the point about having a deep team, is that everybody kind of goes through a dip throughout the season.
If Marner,
unless you're Patrick Laine.
I was about to say, if Marner doesn't score a point, do you ever feel like weird about it? Like, whoa, they shut him down. And then I was trying to think, when was the last time I had that feeling?
It's been a while.
When was the last time Marner didn't get a point?
It's been a while.
Seldom.
Yeah.
Seldom. I mean, I was happy with, obviously, Matthews' return. I can't believe we haven't even mentioned his name yet. He looked really good. He looked timid a little bit. Like he was really avoiding contact, I noticed. It was good to see him get that one goal sort of battling in front. But what I'm still fascinated with is a team that was supposed to be so good is performing so, and I don't want to say bad, because the Sharks aren't bad, that's for sure. But they're mediocre. They're very mediocre, very average, in the worst division in the sport at the moment. Not in the sport. In the league. Not in the sport. A lot of times when I say in the sport,
my division in men's hockey might be pretty bad.
That's a funny slip.
In the sport!
One thing, if we can talk briefly about this, Adam scored last night.
Hey!
Yeah, scored
I didn't know that.
3 goals now. 3 goals in the season.
Oh, on the I was like, that's called a hat trick.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I just had the one last night, but just pot.
You got a talk butt?
Just a rebound.
Was it a snipe?
No. There's a guy on our line when we all are able to show up because it's men's league. So there's always somebody who's got something off. This guy is like a puck possession animal. He rolls around the zone like Nylander, but if Nylander was signed. And occasionally he'll shoot. And we noticed last night that the goalie was he'd always have the first shot, but he was just giving up a bunch of like really tasty rebounds. So he shot
You
it.
knew the book on him.
Yeah, I had the book. And
Guy Boucher behind the bench.
I'm like, I said it to him the shift before. I'm like, you just shoot and I'll be there. And he shot, and then I shot it right into the goalie's chest.
Nice!
But then the goalie fell backwards, and the puck bounced off his chest and into the net.
Oh, that's amazing.
You shot the puck so hard that you shot the goalie into the net.
That's right. I that much power.
Like the Simpsons. Like when friggin' Lisa just clapping shit bombs at the goalie, knocking him over.
Adam Wilde was just a retired broadcaster.
And now he's about to find out the men's league isn't so easy.
So the reason I brought up the stats about the Leafs being so good is I really don't feel, when you look at a team like San Jose, they're a team that came into the season with somewhat of the same expectations as the Toronto Maple Leafs. Supposed to be a top 5 team.
And St. Louis.
Supposed to be a top 5 team, loaded with talent, and they're underperforming right now. The Leafs are really performing right now, and it's funny because I feel like and I've said this before, I feel like we really haven't absorbed that the fact they are 18-8.
It's absolutely astounding. And what's more astounding is it's not good enough for first.
No, that's hilarious too.
In the division.
But what I do find interesting is I'm wondering, because the spotlight in Toronto, it has shifted a little bit. The Raptors obviously are incredible.
Great game last night.
What a treat to watch. The Raptors are amazing. So they're getting some of the spotlight. But I also wonder too, the spotlight on the Leafs is still pretty strong, but the spotlight this year hasn't been on their play. The spotlight's been on William Nylander. It's been on the guy not playing. And I wonder if the Leaf players are sort of enjoying the fact that they're sort of, I don't want to say slipping under the radar because that might be pushing it a little bit, but they are not the focus. Like even Mitch Marner's play, the fact that he's got 30 assists and how many of them, 25 of them are primary, nobody's really talking about that. It's like, that's fine. That's nice.
Well, and then when he does get attention, it's, is he a Hall of Famer? And then people get upset.
Yeah.
It's because of the Willy situation. All the good parts of the Leafs are talked about as negatives. Well, what about Jansson's contract? And what about Matthews' contract? And what about Marner's contract? And what about Kapanen's contract? And what about Gardner's contract? What about them? They're winning games now. Worry about that in June.
Yeah, it's, you know what that is, straight up, and this is straight from my therapist. I was talking about this yesterday. He's like, that's actually anxiety. Did you know that? And I was like, no. And he's like, well, a lot of why people react to that is because when you bring that stuff up, and I'm guilty of this, it's they're playing on your anxieties. They're playing on your fears. And one of the things that he helps me with mine is...
And this is Nylander's last year as a Leaf.
With my anxiety, that he does is he goes, okay, so if you're feeling anxious about something, ask, is it possible? Yeah. Oh, anything's possible. He's like, you could walk out of your house, you could blow up. You could just spontaneously explode. It's like, it could happen. It's possible.
I don't like your
but
therapist.
is it probable?
I think that's very ineffective.
Is it probable? The thing is that people are talking, and I have to say, I'm not usually the guy that goes, the media. But we are perpetuating a situation here that is far overblown over what the reality is. People are speaking as though, the Leafs can't sign Nylander. And not only that, they're not going to be able to re-sign Marner and Matthews too. Do you really think, let's just say William Nylander doesn't sign here, okay? They trade him at the draft, whatever. Do you really think that the Matthews and Marner contract after that are going to be difficult? Do the math. Go on cap friendly. If they don't have Nylander's contract, Gardner gets re-signed for sure, and they have no qualms paying Matthews and Marner. Easy. That's easy money gone. Don't even think about it.
I don't think they have any qualms signing Matthews or Marner anyway.
I don't either.
And I mean, okay, so it becomes difficult to afford guys like Janssen and Kapanen, and I'd much rather deal with that loss.
What the Chicago Blackhawks did for a really long time that was really smart. Whenever they won the cup, well, there goes sorry Christopher Stieg, sorry Dave Bolland.
Dude, the Blackhawks lost Dustin Byfuglien after the first cup.
Andrew Ladd too.
Andrew Ladd was there for...
They lost Byfuglien and Ladd to Winnipeg.
That might have been the same trade.
Yeah, I think so.
Wow. Yeah, that was... they were traded to the Thrashers.
Oh, right. Right, they were. But you think about that, right? Like, the thing is, I think we gotta calm down and actually focus on how great this team has been. And I know it's a lot easier to justify talking about the Leafs to other parts of the country when it's a negative situation, because if you're constantly talking about how good they are, people start to get a little pissed. And I understand that because the Leafs do get an inordinate amount of time. However, they are very good. They are by far the best Canadian team. They are one of the best teams in the league. We should be talking about that.
Jets might want to have a word.
Well, not by far. Yeah, the Jets.
Dude, Laine went from like corpse to god.
13 goals in 6 games.
Shut up.
13 goals in 6 games.
You made that up.
No, I'm not.
Oh
that's the last 6 games, 13 goals. And that Paul Maurice said it perfectly today. He's like, all we have to do is just find more ways to find him the puck. He got 100. He's the 4th youngest player in history to get 100 goals.
How many weeks ago? Maybe 3? We were talking about Paul Maurice talking about Patrick Laine.
Yep.
When the Leafs beat them in those back-to-back games.
Mm-hmm.
And, he saw Laine getting so mad at practice, and he's like, maybe I'll say something. And then Laine is just like bar down for like 10 straight shots. And he's like, maybe I won't say anything. And he's fine.
Does it concern you that he only has 3 assists?
No.
Does he really only have 3 assists?
He only has 3 assists.
No way, really?
Yeah.
What a player that really only cares about himself.
Yeah.
Matthews has less assists than goals. Some guys are just scorers, right?
Does Matthew only have 3 assists?
No, it's
Patrick Laine clearly is not a team player.
Here's another stat. He's
a Fortnite player. Plays by himself.
Yeah, he is backing up his Fortnite comments.
He doesn't play on squad. Plays solo.
Just plays solo.
His assists are only 3 tonight.
That's not.
Yep. It's real good.
That's not good.
Mm-hmm.
No. Laine's shot percentage by year, this according to Travis Yost. In 2016, 17.6%. 2017, 18.3%. 18.3%. The average is what, 12?
That's yeah. So in that ballpark,
And
I think
Crosby
a lot of players
would be what, 16?
A lot of players would be the elite of the league. Shoot around 15.
This year it's 21.4%. He said we are well north of 500 shots on goal now. It's utterly insane.
Yeah. So because of 500 shots, right? There's a greater sample size. Now, you might go, what? You said 15, but this guy's shooting this, and this guy's shooting this, and last year this guy shot this. Over their career, though, year in and year out,
they're shooting that.
But now Laine's got this ridiculous sample size that suggests like he's gonna shoot around at least 17%,
which is insane.
That's insane. Basically, if he gets 5 shots in a game, he can count on a goal. Pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah. Sometimes if he gets 5 shots in a game, he can count on 5.
If Zach Hyman gets 5 shots in a game, he can count on scoring in 5 games.
Yeah, basically.
Like 5
Once
games
every
from now.
5 games.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That poor guy. He's been snake bitten forever. Like, at what point do we just say, Zach, can you just with the rebounds? Can you just put it in?
There's so many like goal celebrations where he's like, yeah, good job, guys. Good job. I was there too. Frig off.
But he's playing well. It's just like
I like his game. He does a lot of things that go undetected. Mm-hmm. And his line is extremely easy to detect is the only problem. I never have a problem detecting Mitch Marner and the things he does.
No. Yeah.
Nope. Hey, but again, anyone who's on this roster is helping right now. All the way down to Freddie Gauthier.
Yep.
Igor Rozhganov, doesn't matter. They're friggin' 18-8.
What does if Nylander does sign, who goes on waivers?
I was trying to think about that.
Because someone has to go on waivers. That's what's going to happen. Because you're not sending Andreas Johnsson down now. He's played so well. And then what does your line look like? You have to keep Kapanen and Matthews together.
Yeah.
Do you put Johnsson with Kadri? Or how do you do that?
I'm less concerned with the lineup, the lines, than I am with like who comes out of the lineup and goes on waivers. So one of Ennis or Levo is obviously coming out of the lineup.
Oh, okay. Not Gauthier? Gautier's already out.
Gautier's already out,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
he's definitely out. Now, at this point, you have an extra D. There are guys you can shift from the right and put on the left, and guys you can shift. And Marinson's one of them, and he's your extra. You've played Hall once. Like, the way Gautier's played and the utter absence of ice time for Justin Hall, how do you justify putting Gauthier on waivers ahead of Hall? Listen, heading into the season, I would have never said that, but there's one player they may use, and there's another who they will not.
Yeah, they're clearly not going to use Justin Hall. And
unless
hey,
they have this crazy moment of realization, you know what, let's take Hainsey out and just put Hall there. What? Like, I don't think that's going to happen. You waive the guy who's only played one game.
So here's the question then with Hall. When I look at a guy like that, I don't think he gets picked up. No. Is any team really going to put in a waiver claim at this point when they're super tight against the cap?
Well, and then the other issue is the Marlies have too many damn D-men. They have way too many. I don't know if Jordan Subban is injured or just a healthy scratch. Because remember they got Corrado too?
Yeah.
Forgot about that. And their left side is
just
juiced.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah,
Can you have 2 AHL teams? Could the Leafs buy another AHL team and just farm their players out there too?
Growlers. The Newfoundland Growlers.
That's the ECHL. That's a little different.
Basically, no, I know. But they want to use that system a little more. It's crowded, which is a good thing. Like the Leafs contract situation going forward is crowded, right? It's better to be crowded than sparse. And some teams are sparse and they're doing crap.
Garrett's sparse.
Sparse.
Hey.
You see, Jesse.
You know what else has been interesting in talking about the contract situation is that when you're a bad team, and we know this from watching a ton of bad teams over our lifetimes, that it's people are talking about, well, how are you going to fit all these superstars under the cap? How will you do it?
Well,
this is the problem. You have just too much talent. When you don't have that talent, you end up overpaying for the guys who are okay.
Can you do 4 guys? 10 million plus.
I mean, that's the thing, right? It's like I said last show, you're you're looking at $38 to $40 million wrapped up in 4 players.
Is that doable?
And you can't. That is doable, but can you have them all and forward?
The entire lease forward right now cap situation is $32 million. Every guy.
And you have to count on 25 more million probably for Marner, Matthews, Nylander, and that's being conservative.
Yeah. So how are you going to do that?
Got to draft real good.
You do have to draft really good. You have to develop really well.
You can't just discover Tyler Ennis once. Like you gotta find every year's Tyler Ennis and bring him to Toronto.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
in fact, Tyler Ennis, he's played well,
Yep.
but maybe Tyler Ennis plays for the same amount of money next year too.
Somewhere else. Maybe.
Like
Yeah,
he's an NHL.
That's possible.
There's no question he's an NHL player, and if he can go get his money elsewhere, go get it.
He's definitely an NHL player, but the Leafs can give him league min. Maybe someone else gives him $1 million, 1.5, and then that's what happens. The Leafs are able to get players for league min.
They show their skills off on national TV every
and
night.
then they go to teams who don't have enough skill, and those teams pay them probably a little too much.
But that's the point. That's the point I'm trying to make.
So the Leafs need to be the first team in that equation.
Yes.
Consistently.
And the way you do that is you pay for your stars and you pay nothing for anybody else. And that's sort of how it has to work in a cap system. I mean, if you look at football, they have a hard cap system in the NFL. And those guys, the best players, make. I mean, what is it that Jimmy Garoppolo is making? I think, what is it, $25 million a year, $30 million a year, something? It might even be more. And that guy's sitting on the bench because he's injured, but he's a quarterback. Quarterbacks make a lot of money. I think Ben Roethlisberger's making 25, and then I think Antonio Brown's up over $20 million too. That's two players on a roster of 40. So
I think it's more.
Yeah, like that's the thing. You pay for your big guys, and then you pay leaguemen for your Tyler Ennis's. You find guys who can fit into your system. That's what football's done.
Yeah, in some years, you're going to have guys who you clearly throw into sink or swim situations that sink a little.
Yeah.
You know, young guys. Jesse, I think you were going to ask Adam something. Weren't you? He said something earlier.
I don't know.
About roster, hard cap, salaries. Shoot. Sorry.
Doesn't matter.
Remember.
Anyway, the key here is that I was getting into that anxiety discussion just for this to just say this.
Oh, right.
Do not worry. Do not worry. Enjoy the ride. Just enjoy the ride.
Enjoy the season that is currently happening in front of you.
Because this is a very special. Like Paul
Stop
Hendrick
trying to be. I feel like everyone on hockey Twitter is trying to be the scientist from the day after tomorrow. Mr. Vice President, you don't understand. This chart says this chart, and it's just going to be a collapse. You don't understand. All right, you take your science and shove it, Mr. Scientist. Like, just enjoy it.
Yeah, it's fun. This is
totally
fun.
with you.
This is the fun stuff.
Watch the hockey.
Yeah, which is the game we all are supposed to love.
That's the problem. The problem with, I think, sports talk radio is the actual gameplay doesn't lend itself to enough discussion.
I also think you've got a perspective, and I shared this.
How about that goal line?
I shared this in a conversation.
Wow.
And we're guilty of that too, but we share that in a conversation. I shared this with a conversation with somebody who we're mutual friends with, and I said, a lot of the perspectives we get are from general managers that are no longer general managers. And that's not a slight against those guys, but the way that a Brian Burke or Doug McLean or Craig Button or whoever you want to name, or Gord Stelling, whoever, they all look at it from that perspective because that is what they were. And, they're not players, they're general managers. So they're not going to talk about the nuts and bolts of a hockey play per se. They're going to talk about the nuts and bolts of a contract. And if those guys are the ones dominating the airwaves, that's the perspective you're going to get, and that's the conversation that perpetuates itself. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I would love to see a little bit more on, like, how is it?
A little bit more on.
How is it that Patrick Laine's 13 goals in 6 games are not the number one story today?
Was his 5-goal game the number one story that night?
No, it wasn't. And Ehlers had a hat trick last night. Ghost town. Crickets. No one's talking about it.
On Instagram and thought it was old. I didn't know that actually happened. Is there a crazy spike in hat tricks this season? It seems like it.
Yeah,
like
there's
several a week.
Yeah, there is. I wonder if goals
no disrespect, but Andreas Johnsson had a hat trick. That is not something I would have called. He had a first period hat trick. Wait, he had a first period hat trick the night Laine scored 5.
Yes, he did.
And no one gave a shit.
Didn't he have
5?
Didn't he have it was in the first 11 minutes. Like it was really quick.
Yeah.
Well, it was against his former goalie who is known
Calvin
to have
Pickard.
Yeah. So
to answer your question about goals per game, currently the NHL is at a pace of 3.07 goals per game. Last year they finished the season at 2.97.
That's up.
So slightly.
It tends to tail off a bit. Mm-hmm. This year, I don't know. It's far enough into the season, and it doesn't really appear to be tailing off. Can you read the year by year goals per game? Because I think the trend is it's going up, right? Can you go back 5 years?
5 years, sure. We'll start at 2012-13, the lockout year.
That was
goals were at 2.72, and then 13-14, 2.74, 14-15, 2.73. 15-16, it goes slightly down, 2.71, and then here's your upswing. So we go 2.77, 16-17, and then last year's 2.97. So we go from 7-1, 7-7, 9-7, 0-7.
Is that something in the goalie equipment?
I don't know.
The rules? Are the players just better? Some of the best goal scorers in the game are young. It's bananas, man.
It's crazy.
You know who we have to thank? Austin Matthews.
That's right.
Yeah, let's move on from this line A talk.
Save percentage is at a 908 league wide, and last year was a 912.
So
that's a big difference.
Even
That's
912
huge.
is down. So a league average goalie is 908.
Whoa.
Freddie
Boy, are we
Anderson
lucky.
should be in the friggin' Vezina conversation. He's
The
at
last-
932, I think.
The last time it was that low was 2008, 2009.
Man, I love hearing that. I love more goals.
And it would have been higher if it
Give me
weren't
all the
for Leafs.
goals. Give me all the
Oh,
goals.
yeah. Hell yeah.
You know what? You know who's bringing the average down is the bloody Kings. Man, if the Kings
and their
if the Kings
goals?
didn't
Yeah.
exist, the goals would be up a full goal a game. But they scored. Jeff Carter had his first goal in 12 games last night
They're
against
like
the Oilers.
only boring team left in the league.
They were boring when they were good too.
Yeah, the Sens, I don't know if they're very good, but holy shit, they're fun.
They're fun.
They score a lot. They get scored on a lot.
Which brings me
They're
to
a barrel of monkeys.
Matt Duchene, 22 points in November.
Well, first of all, good. You should have. Second of all, that game winner the other day against the Flyers, good God. One of the best goals of the season.
Would you say by God?
Far. By God.
Question.
Matt Duchene with a slobber knocker.
You're the general manager of the Ottawa Senators.
Yes.
You are Pierre Dorian.
We're a team.
Do you trade him or do you re-sign him? I know that they're talking about an extension. My question, because if I'm the GM, I trade him. My question is, why do you re-sign him? I know he's
Because
a
you
very
can't-
good player.
You can't get anybody else to come there. So you
Yeah.
have a guy, you sign him.
Yeah, you can't replicate. You're going to have a really hard time drafting that. And you can't just draft it once. Well, we got Brady Tkachuk. All right, well, we'll draft another one this upcoming year with a good pick. Well, you don't have it. So, yeah, if you got a guy, you got to try to re-sign him. They should put a lot of effort into re-signing Duchene. They should put a lot of effort into re-signing Stone. They need to find a goalie of the future.
But they got to keep. I think they got to keep Craig Anderson at least one more year.
Because they have to win games.
Yeah, they don't have a choice.
Crazy. But what's amazing, though, is the way things are going in the NHL. I bet they could actually get a decent little haul for Craig Anderson at the deadline. If he's healthy,
Oh yeah.
they're allowing the most shots against in the league. It'll be a walk in the park wherever he goes compared to that.
This is his last year, or at least under contract with them. They could
It's
trade
not.
him and then re-sign him. Is this not?
No.
Oh, he's got one more
He
year?
signed through next year, 4.75.
How much?
4.75.
Well, not a lot of teams could afford that, especially the
Scott
ones that
Darling
need
just went
goaltending
on
help.
waivers, too.
Oh, yeah.
Boy.
Scott, $4 million. I said it. Who freaking called that too? Just saying, Scott Darling is not a starting goaltender in the NHL.
Shoot. I feel like we talked about this at the time. Like,
But
how
Curtis
did they...
McElhinney is. Sorry.
Yes. Yep. Literally their starter.
And good
He's
for
the
Matt.
starter.
That's cool.
Mrazek is the backup now. Literally, Curtis McElhinney is a starting goaltender in the NHL. I don't get it. All the past 12 months have done is make me feel like I'm an idiot and I don't know anything.
Who knows anything
Vegas
about goaltending?
is good last year. St. Louis is terrible this year. The Sharks can't do anything this year. Curtis McElhinney's the starter. Down is up and up is down.
Can I just say that right now I am very right about the Ottawa Senators holding on to their draft pick of last year?
Let me hear it.
I was very right about
Oh,
the
because of where they
decision.
are? Where are they in the standings right now?
They are sitting in 23rd in
That's
the
a
league
lot
standings.
higher
They finished
than I
fourth
thought.
last, or they picked fourth overall last year. And currently, their draft pick would be...
they haven't played as many
what is that?
games as some of those other guys.
Yeah.
Yo, that's crazy. And some of the teams below them don't make sense, though. The Canucks make sense. The Coyotes are believable, I guess. Chicago, I didn't think was that bad. New Jersey? Florida? Philly? St. Louis? L.A.? What?
Well, LA.
Dude, on paper, though.
They're
Like,
old.
heading into the season, they are old, but I didn't think they were this finished.
Yeah.
They made the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think
And Detroit, by the way, is ahead of Ottawa. Who the hell? What the? I don't know anything.
Pittsburgh,
And
all the way
just
down
ahead of
there.
them is Pittsburgh. I don't get it. Pittsburgh and Edmonton right next to each other in the standings, like we all predicted 5 years ago. Wait, what?
20 and 21 in the league standings.
That's just bizarre.
Ottawa, bet on yourself. That was my call at the beginning of the year, and it looks like it's working out.
I mean, if they miss the playoffs, though,
Doesn't matter.
they're in. Yes, it absolutely matters. They're in the lottery conversation.
Yeah, but they still made the right decision of giving up, of holding on to last year's draft pick. It was 4th overall. They said they should have held on to it, and it looks like it was the right decision. They got Brady Tkachuk.
So even if they give up the first overall pick this year, the likelihood was low.
No, they're
Like-
not going to, is what I'm saying.
But they might.
No, but they're
There's
not.
still a chance.
Yeah, okay.
Jesse,
There's
come
a
on.
chance.
You think this is
First,
going to last?
second, or
Are you
third.
gonna walk outside and explode? There's a possibility, as Adam said.
I think the chances are. What, Jesse? What if I told you if you go outside, there's a 7% chance you'll explode?
That's pretty high.
That's pretty high, isn't it? Yeah, it's a little bit high.
Yeah.
I think you might stay indoors.
A little bit.
I don't know if you'd go outside. Yeah, man. It's, you know what though? No, it's looking real good for them. And Brady Tkachuk has been crazy good when he's healthy. I don't get that team. The NHL has been so fun this year. So fun on the ice.
Except for the Nylander stuff. That's
No,
not been fun.
yeah,
I
the
tell you,
stories
I hate it. I
I've
hate it.
hated. I mean,
Don't worry. It's just a doorbell. We'll leave it.
okay.
It's okay.
Do you live
Don't
in a
even need to.
haunted house
Don't even
with
need to
that
acknowledge
doorbell?
it. Don't even
Okay,
need to
I'm sorry.
acknowledge. It's just.
Anyway, what was I gonna say? The NHL has been so fun to watch this year, and I'll promote it again. Ice surfing Tuesdays, 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern. They've been so fun every single night. I've really enjoyed watching other teams around the NHL. Every game is unpredictable. There's so many damn stars. Front-loading lines. I don't know. Maybe that's affecting goal scoring around the league. The Avalanche look absolutely unbelievable up front. Every now and then a monkey wrench gets thrown in there. Bergeron, he's not in the lineup for the Bruins. Uh-oh. Apparently the Sabres are now this friggin' juggernaut. And the only team that can beat them is Tampa. It's been so fun.
Well, and the interesting thing too, I mean, I know the Sabres lost last night for the first time in 10 games because we talked about them. But
Literally, that's why.
one of the things I did a feature with Paul Hendrick in the Toronto Maple Leafs this week, and one of the things he talked about off camera was that 10-0 Leafs, 10-0 Leafs start that they had in like 94 or something
94.
like. And he said essentially they won the first 10 games of the season and played 500 hockey the rest of the way and made the playoffs. So literally, anybody that's telling you that the Buffalo Sabres won't make the playoffs this year, mathematically, it's like probably less than 20% that they won't. I know they're in a strong division, but I got to tell you, like it's so hard to win that many games this early on and have another team catch you. It's almost impossible.
If Florida can get some stops, they could roar back. Montreal is an interesting one because they're on this little skid, but they just got Shea Weber back. What a weird division.
It's crazy. Karlsson makes his return to Ottawa this weekend. Now, he's done a press
No, Adam, no, stop. It's Friday. We can't talk about it.
Oh, yeah. Can't talk about that yet. No, you're right.
Can't talk about it. All right, what's the next topic?
I feel bad for...
Here, go ahead. I'll walk out.
I feel bad for Ken Campbell. Now,
Oh, I don't.
while we've done
I think
this...
there's two guilty parties here.
I think while we're doing this, you should know that the new press conference for Erik Karlsson has come out. So he had another one this afternoon, and he
he
said,
did?
yeah, he started it off with "The time is nigh."
Did he?
Yeah, he did,
That's amazing.
which is awesome because
That's hilarious.
Because that's what Ken Campbell asked me. He said, "Well, the time is nigh. You're going to play in Ottawa." He apparently, I guess, didn't want to answer questions about Ottawa while he was in Toronto.
Yeah, so what I think happened, so when was that game? Wednesday?
Yeah.
It was on Monday or Tuesday. He told reporters elsewhere, I guess, that he didn't want to talk about it and he would talk about Ottawa in Ottawa. Now, everyone who's being anti-media about this, congratulations, you're now in the pantheon of people who are anti-media. I just want you to think about who those people are. Anyway. People who are being anti-media about this, it's not their job to care about Karlsson's request. It's just not.
Right.
Karlsson is making his return to Ottawa on a Saturday, chocked full of hockey. The Sens and Sharks play at 1. I think there's a Canucks game at 4. There's a Leafs game at 7. I'm pretty sure there's a late game at 10. It's not their job to listen to Karlsson on this one. Yeah, you're teeing up that game. We're going to ask you anyway. We wouldn't be talking about Karlsson storming off. Look, how hard is it to be like, yeah, I had a lot of good memories in Ottawa. I can't wait to get there. The fans were great.
Well, and
how hard is it to give...
I saw that, and that was my exact reaction.
How hard is
that? That makes three of us. All Erik Karlsson had to do was go, listen, I don't want to talk about it too much right now, but I'll just say I had a great time in Ottawa. I'm looking forward to the game. We'll talk a little bit more on Friday.
And Ken Campbell put a little stank on it.
Yeah.
Sorry, yes?
We criticize hockey players for doing the hockey thing, but that was one instance where just do it.
Just do it.
Just go out there, say the deadpan thing, and get it over.
No, I'm going to storm out.
It'll take half a second.
Yeah. I'm going to storm out and draw far more attention to it. That was Christmas for TSN. I think they were the only camera rolling. Yeah. Christmas for them. Erik Karlsson made TSN money.
I wonder if there was... It's interesting that it happened because then yesterday... we start to hear stories, and there was a story in The Athletic that talked about Erik Karlsson and the dictatorship, apparently, that he ran while he was in Ottawa. And there was an accusation leveled by an anonymous Ottawa Senators player that said basically that...
Mike Hoffman?
No, I don't think it was Mike Hoffman.
I'm joking.
A current player that basically said that if Erik Karlsson didn't want to practice, they didn't practice. And he often didn't want to practice. And that's probably because Erik Karlsson doesn't need to practice, but maybe the Senators did.
I want to publicly apologize to JD Bunkus and Ben Ennis, whose show I just spaced on.
Oh! All right.
What?
Oops.
We got to pause if you needed to call.
No, it's 3:54.
No, 6 minutes left in their show.
I
screwed them. Cool.
Did they call you?
Oh, well, sorry. That's why I panicked there, because I looked down. I'm like, 4 missed calls. What
Is your phone on silent?
Oh, well, yeah, we're recording a show.
Oh, my God. That's funny. They're probably not that upset. I'm sure they're fine. They'll just give you the gears for it next time.
The worst. Okay. Yeah.
So I think it's interesting that the knives are sort of coming out for Erik Karlsson now. This was the opportunity, because as soon as that press conference with Ken Campbell happened, I know this is hilarious. As soon as that happened with Ken Campbell, the negative stories about Erik Karlsson's time in Ottawa started to come out a little bit. And
Which is also the wrong way to do it. I don't know. I hate all of it. If he answered 2 questions. What? It was after a loss. The first of his career, too, I'm sure. Dude, just give a boring question and be like, hey, guys, I got to catch a bus. Say something. Don't just walk away. Don't just walk. He made it into a thing. And then the time is nigh. At his little press conference.
You made it the thing. And I wonder, I think it was a bonehead move on Erik's part. I don't blame Ken at all. I don't blame him at all.
I would. Okay. I can say I don't blame him, and also that I would have done it differently.
What would you have done?
I don't know. It's an interesting question. People were saying, like, I think I'd have a little bit more tact, but a journalist's job is not to be tactful, frankly. Which is why I'm not one, and I wouldn't be good at it. I
always wonder when people say that. I'm like, do you not want to know the answer to that question? Because I sure as hell want to know what Erik Karlsson thinks about going to Ottawa.
There's a couple stories in my book, and I will tease it and not say much more, but about mercy, like as a reporter. And there have been a couple instances in my career where everyone in the scrum were just like, yeah, we're done here. Like, and we could have kept going. And just, but really, if we were doing our jobs, we would have kept going, but it's sports. It's not friggin'.
It's not news.
It's well, it's not.
There's not
a ton at stake here. I don't know. I think Ken Campbell was doing his job, and Erik Karlsson was doing his right as a free citizen in North America and just walking away. I don't know. If he says nothing, it's not a thing. Which I think is his goal. I don't think he wants it to be a thing.
Well,
I've
is he?
noticed
Hold on,
this-
but is Erik Karlsson dumb enough to think that it couldn't be a thing?
No, I think he was just angry. I think he was angry in the moment.
Man, come on, you got to know better than that. You're in Toronto.
Yeah, well, he's a competitor.
There's like 40 reporters waiting for you. Come on.
Reporters only ask dumb questions anyway.
Listen, I like it or
Isn't that
not.
true?
Like it or not, it's a
come
part
on.
of your job.
Come on, bro. They only ask dumb questions anyway, right?
Yeah, that's right. The media. The media.
The reason I deleted Twitter off my phone.
Why did you delete Twitter off your phone? Why are you so grumpy about that today? What's going on?
Second time you brought it up. Clearly want to talk about it.
Yes.
Don't say you don't want to talk about it. You've said it twice. What's going on?
You know what? Maybe I shouldn't have brought it up. Maybe.
Are you gonna get up and walk away?
No.
Maybe walk away, Steve.
Maybe Erik Karlsson was trying to tell me something, and the whole reason he walked away was because of me. To teach me.
That would be an arrogant take of you.
No, there was just a few. I don't know. A couple people were really crossed the line, and it bothered me.
Oh, okay. Fair
Cross
enough.
the line in what way?
No, because we're trying to have fun with the show, and it
I
would just
think-
take it to a place.
Oh, let's not go
I
there
think
then.
let's go to the place.
No, I don't want to
Let's
go to the
sit
place.
in it.
No.
Let's roll around in
No,
the muck.
we don't need to do that.
No.
We don't need to do that.
not going to that place. Sorry. You know what? 9 times out of 10, I'll play in the mud with you, buddy. I'm not playing.
Not on this one. Chuck Fletcher and Dave Nonis have both interviewed to be Philadelphia's GM. Can they co-GM together so we can get maximum chaos?
Okay. Hear me out. Get a smart GM. Put them in charge. Take away all their decision-making power and watch them squirm. And watch them try to make smart moves while...
Paul Holmgren tells them what to do.
Exactly. I was talking to people today. They're like, whoa, Chuck Fletcher's the guy for the job, and I think he'll be good at it. Oh, do you now? Chuck Fletcher, who has never been influenced by ownership in the past. Minnesota. I thought I was done. I'm not. Turns out I'm not done. Turns out I'm still mad at them. Turns out. So if you think Chuck Fletcher is going to be able to make all the Chuck Fletcher moves he wants to make as the GM of the Philadelphia Flyers, I'll take that bet. I'm here for what the Philadelphia Flyers are going to do next, regardless of who they hire. Because it obviously doesn't matter. Who is it? Craig Custance today. The Flyers are searching for a new GM. And talking to Kyle Dubas about William Nylander? If I'm a prospective GM candidate, I might want to weigh in on that a little bit.
Yeah,
What
maybe
if that is an interview question? Chuck, what would you do?
sign him for 13 years at
Your
$100
job
million.
is to call up. I'm sure this is against the CBA, but okay. The 2 GM candidates. Your job is to call up Kyle Dubas and negotiate a William Nylander trade for us. Go. I love it. Man. Please be Dave Nonis. Please. I need this in my life. I just need it. Philly, I'm sorry it had to be you. I'm sorry, but I need
It's going to be Chuck Fletcher.
Dave Nonis being an Eastern Conference GM again in my life.
It'll be Chuck Fletcher. I think they're talking like they're talking like that. Holmgren's got his mind made up, but he doesn't want to pull the Chiarelli and go, we interviewed one person, we called one person, and that's it.
Yeah.
So they're throwing another name out there like, hey, we had a phone conversation with this guy. Like, if you're truly trying to find a general manager that's going to take control of the team, Mike Fuda's the guy in Los Angeles.
Which is so interesting because he worked with Hextall, I believe.
Oh, wow. But I don't
Wouldn't that have been a nice little
would have been
tag
cool.
team to have?
Would have been cool, except that I don't think. First off, I would think Mike Fuda probably wants out of LA because I don't think Mike Fuda's had a lot of control about what's going on there. I just don't think he's in control. I don't think anybody really knows what's going on there. I don't think he's going to go to Philly. If he didn't go to Carolina because of A, the money, and B, ownership, why would he go to Philadelphia with Paul Holmgren, who's going to tell you what to do?
There's some more incentive for the Flyers to get Mike Fuda. You know who Mike Fuda discovered? Basically really pushed for teams to draft him? Wayne Simmons.
Wow.
Back in the day. Because Wayne Simmons was a LA Kings draft pick.
Yes, he was. I remember that.
A lot of people forget that. A lot of people forget that. I remember reading that on one of the many Scarborough-related features written about Wayne Simmons. Yeah, Mike Fuda, I don't know. He's one of those guys we've talked about as a candidate for like 5 years now.
Yeah.
Like, maybe it's time.
Yeah. I mean, well, but I guess when you step into like, listen, if you've waited your whole life for a job, do you like, and you're like in your, you're in your 40s now, and you've been working for this for 20 years.
How old's Mike Fuda?
I don't know, but I'm just assuming he's in his 40s. Imagine it's 20 years he's been in hockey.
Sure.
Okay, that's not an unfair, unreasonable thing to say. You waited your whole life for this, and then you step into a situation where you're
51.
probably you're 51, so probably 30 years plus. And you know, by taking that job, even though that's the job you've always wanted, you are not going to have the ability to do the job that you know you can do. Do you take the job?
As opposed to, well, how many jobs are there where you have complete autonomy?
You're not going to have complete autonomy. No one's going to give you that.
Yeah, literally no team.
No team will give you that.
No team will give you that.
But because Kyle Dubas answers to Brendan Shanahan, and Brendan Shanahan answers to Bell, Rogers, and Larry Tannenbaum.
Ownership.
Yeah.
Like Shanahan, it sounds like they give him freedom. They can take it away.
Sure.
They own the team.
Sure.
Actually, we would like to make the playoffs this year. Very much. We weren't going to get anyone at the deadline. Actually, I think you should. They can say those sort of things.
They don't, but they should. Or they shouldn't. In the Leafs' case, just let them do what they're doing. But it happens. It happens all the time. Like, do you think Jeremy Jacobs isn't calling his general manager?
Every now and then. Yeah, it's you're not just general manager, right? Like, you're not just managing the team. You're managing egos and you're managing your boss. Totally.
Agents, everything else.
I'm sure there's plenty of people listening who protect their bosses from themselves, And it sounds like Ron Hextall was doing that for a very long time, and now the barrier has been broken. He said Protego, and they said, "To hell with your Protego."
Oilers make a pretty good claim on waivers today. Valentin Zykov, which, honestly, if he played, it looks like he's a good player. In 25 career games, he has 11 points. He is a left winger and 23 years old. He was a Los Angeles Kings pick. Interestingly enough, Los Angeles did not put a claim in on him. Edmonton did.
Detroit, that was another one I saw. I think it was Brock Sagan on Twitter was really mad about that. Detroit didn't claim him.
There's a guy that
a lot of teams passed on him.
If he's got the speed that they need, all you need is a guy who can keep up with Connor McDavid.
And he's big. Big. He's, I think, exactly what the Oilers want in so many ways, and he's actually good. It looks like he's going to be good. His AHL production is ridiculous.
I don't know, man. 54 points last year in the AHL, 33 goals, 21 assists.
For still a relatively young guy, how old is he?
23.
23? He's at that, what is he age?
Yep.
But he's got some NHL experience, and he's got a little tiny bit of NHL success. I'm going to throw it out there. He's going to score in his first game. Because that's sort of been the trend this year. He's going to score in his first game with the Oilers. Watch.
That happens a lot more than... It's funny. That beginner's luck thing, there's something about it.
I think it's the adrenaline factor.
Yeah, maybe.
So you're doing this thing. You get extra motivated. You try extra hard.
His teammates probably feed him.
Yeah. Your teammates want you to succeed. It's like when a guy goes back to their hometown, I think they score more.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I'm in front of the crowd. All your teammates are feeding you. They know this is your city. I think it's a thing. For sure.
Oh, God. Who was telling the story on ice surfing? It was it Ken Reed this past week or Elliot Friedman? One of them had a story about a player who was coming to Toronto, first time in a very long time, and in warm-ups, I know what it was. In warm-ups, they were going behind the net or something, and the puck, someone took a wicked shot, and the puck goes off the post, and it just destroys their face, like just dismantles it. And they got to go back to the room, and they're getting stitched up the whole time, and they come back out and onto the bench midway through the third period. And their teammates are like, "What the hell are you doing? Mm-hmm. Like, it's midway through the third. Your face is busted. Get out of here." And he's like, "I got 30 or 40 people sitting up there, and I got to put on a show."
Yeah.
So it's yes, it is one of those things that we go, it doesn't really matter. It matters. Mm-hmm. Why do Toronto-based guys always torch the Leafs? It matters. That's why. I mean, the Leafs were bad for a very long time, but I also don't think it's a coincidence that guys who grew up as Leaf fans torched the Leafs night in and night out. Or at least did. It's weird. I got to talk in the past tense now. They're good.
So
They're good.
So is Valentin Zykov going to play the Carolina Hurricanes anytime soon? There's another game where he might score some goals. It's again the Carolina Hurricanes are so perplexing to me because all their metrics are really good. If you look at Charting Hockey, Sean Tierney on Twitter, they consistently are a team.
They're the best possession team in the league.
Like they should be very good, yet they're not giving Svechnikov any time. Zykov's another guy that like very clearly can play. I don't get it.
Maybe they're deep. I don't know.
Oh, they're so deep. How deep in the standings are they though? How far down?
How
I think they're in the last wild card spot, right?
They're in there. They started hot, went on a slump, and now I think they've had a good little run.
No, they're out of there. The Islanders are back in. The Islanders.
Just bizarre.
Yeah.
There's another one. Although they're not having the best time right now either.
To tell you, there was an Islanders fan who was like, "Listen, man, we know they're not great, but can you just let us enjoy this one little couple month stretch?"
When does Pittsburgh struggling become a story?
I mean, it already is.
I think it was like last week.
And it definitely is in Pittsburgh every day. However, if you look at the Penguins, they are 2 points behind Montreal, Carolina, and New York, the Islanders, that is, for the last wild card spot. They'll be fine.
There's another team hurting for goaltending a little bit because Matt Murray's out. I think Casey DeSmith has still been playing the lion's share of starts. I think they should give Tristan Jarry more. I think, was he the one called up? It's hard to friggin' pay attention to every single team. Super in depth. But, yeah, it's again, there's another team who's had their fortunes changed by goaltending. What are you laughing at?
Andrew Berkshire. Holy shit. Nylander, Hainsey, and a fourth for Provorov. And I was like, stop. Nice try.
Forgot.
Did he just tweet that?
He just texted it to me.
Oh, he texted
Just
it.
being a dick.
Okay.
He sent me something too, actually.
What did he say?
If the Leafs are the Megazord, is Willy the Green Ranger, and when he signs, he becomes the White Ranger?
What is that, Power Rangers?
Are you serious?
What show was that?
Sometimes I forget that Jesse is a little boy. Are you?
Casey DeSmith and Tristan Jarry are the two goalies for Pittsburgh right now. Oof. And none of them are
Man, once Matt
Green
Murray
Rangers.
comes back.
But he wasn't even that great.
Yeah, he was struggling.
Yeah, but I wonder if that was partly injury.
Could have been. Matt Murray did. He might have done himself a disservice by getting a shutout in Toronto that one night. Because if he struggles in Toronto, then the conversation about his struggles become a little bit louder, and then maybe he gets injured a little sooner. You know what I mean? There's so many players who are probably injured like 2 weeks before they go down as injured, if that makes sense.
Yes, absolutely. Can you play through it?
There's probably players who play through an entire playoff series with broken ribs and are injured not until the offseason.
What about players that are clearly concussed but pass concussion protocol and come back into the game?
Wait, no.
Bad.
Are you talking about Byfuglien?
He came back.
Yeah.
He came back in that game? That's a disgrace. I didn't realize he came back.
Paul
I knew he
Maurice-
went into protocol.
Yeah.
Paul Maurice made a good point. He said, listen, do you expect the concussion tests to be perfect? There are going to be mistakes made. He is on the IR. Hold on.
Ridiculous.
But if you look at that and you look at the way his legs fell out from under
out
him.
on his
So,
feet.
There's the moment from when he falls to when he gets to the trainer behind the bench. And from that moment, it appears like, when you get a concussion, you're kind of knocked out. You don't really know where you are.
Yeah.
It looked like he didn't know where he was until that moment. It's kind of like when he woke up.
Yeah.
Because he looks at the trainer, he kind of asks, why am I going to the dressing room? I think it's why am I
played in
going
that
to the
game?
dressing room?
That's
he
ridiculous.
wasn't conscious from that moment.
He was knocked unconscious.
It was-
he was out on his feet.
Yeah.
It
was scary. It scared me.
I mean, this isn't expertise at all. This isn't I don't have a doctorate in anything, but
Really?
you and I know. You and I watch a lot of combat sports, I think. More than most.
Sure.
A lot of boxing, a lot of MMA especially.
Yeah.
Mama?
Sorry?
Watch a lot of Mama.
You can tell when someone's knocked out before they hit the mat.
Yeah.
Byfuglien was unconscious the moment basically he made contact with Jamie Alexis.
And anyone who's ever seen that can see that.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. He was unconscious.
I'm actually a little surprised.
And I saw Darren Dreger the next day. He's like, I don't want to use the C word, that being concussion.
Why?
Yes, the second I saw it, I'm like, that's a concussion.
Why don't you want to use the C word, Darren? That's very clearly a concussion.
Also, it's usually not the C word when you're referencing the C word.
true.
But Darren,
In the tweet, you should look it up. He goes,
Probably
by
pretty
that
funny.
I mean concussion. You should have just said concussion.
Yeah.
I don't mean to say concussion, but I think it might be a concussion.
that's a bad tweet.
Yeah,
I don't
it is.
care.
It's
Darren's got a roundabout way of saying things sometimes, and I'm like, why did you just don't get in your own way, man?
Boy, Bufflin's in trouble. Yeah, no, that's absolutely insane. I didn't realize, because that was on ice surfing on Tuesday night, and I didn't realize that he actually came back.
And he's on the IR now.
Absurd.
Well, and I think
really dumb.
the fact that I mean, first off, I didn't know Jamie Oleksiak was that big, that he could take out Byfuglien.
So
Whoa.
that was the biggest possible collision in the National Hockey League.
Oh, that's a cool
Are
fact.
the two biggest players?
Byfuglien is listed as 260 pounds, which I don't believe for a minute. He's way more. And Jamie Oleksiak is 255, which is 5 pounds more than Zdeno Chara.
Wow.
Listed at.
Yeah.
Listed at. And then you factor in equipment. So without equipment, that collision was 515 pounds of human being smashing into each other. And you don't need to have I didn't see any head contact on the hit. I'd have to watch it again. Mm-hmm. You don't need it.
Nope.
You don't need it. You can get your egg scrambled plenty of ways. Namely by 515 pounds worth of human being connected.
I wonder what the pressure, if we could mathematically figure out the PSI.
Well, no, I got something
PSI
different.
is the right word.
I got something different.
No?
No, it's definitely not.
Why is PSI not the right
but-
word? The pressure between the two of them when they hit.
It's the energy. I don't know how to explain it properly.
There's a pressure stat for
Someone
that.
with science knowledge will
No,
correct
and
you.
I have it. I have it.
Help me out.
No, I have it.
You
I
know science.
I got to find it in my conversation
if a
history.
train,
I can
see,
actually
this is
find it.
where it would have been good to pay attention in school when train X is traveling on one track at 500
No,
miles
no,
an
yes,
hour.
we know
When they used
someone
to measure tires.
We know someone smart enough. Here it is. Heart of Lad.
Ah, hi, Heart
So
of.
this reminded me of something we did on. It was during the Jets Ducks playoff series, and I was helping out Sofia Jurcevic with her hits, just doing like a little bit of research and stuff. And what we found out from this website and in talking to Stephen Birch is there was this hit Dustin Byfuglien laid on Ryan Kessler, and we figured out that the energy generated by that hit, if you could harness it, which you obviously can't, but if you could harness it, like hook up a cord to the hit,
Yeah.
it could power a light bulb for 17 seconds, like a 60
Wow,
watt
that's cool.
light bulb. For
You have
17.
talked about this before.
Yes. So Heart of Lad, remembering this, tweeted me when this hit happened. If both players were going about 15 kilometers an hour, now I think he just pulled that number arbitrarily, but if both players were going about 15 kilometers an hour, the energy in that collision was over 4,000 joules. That's enough energy to power a 40-watt light bulb for almost 2 minutes.
But how
Why
many
are-
vape pens?
Damn it!
You were
Damn
going
it,
for
how
it?
many mango
Yes!
flavored vape pens?
Did I tell you about the Uber driver I got in the other day? I think I texted Jesse about it.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Uber
yeah.
Java.
I got into an Uber on Queen Street the other night, and the guy I got in, he's like, "Hey, sorry, man, I wasn't able to clear out all the vape smoke before you got in." And I'm like, "That's okay. It smells like caramel." He's like, "Yeah, it's caramel."
Oh god.
the whole car was just
Yeah, no,
stinky
my
caramel.
destination's actually only a block away. Oh, really? Because on here it says, no, just drop me here. No, I'm good.
Imagine me saying that to someone with a straight face. Sorry, I couldn't clear out all the vape
All
smoke.
the caramel vape smell. Love it. Love it. So anyway, yes, that is ridiculous that Byfuglien was allowed to play in the game. Also, aren't there spotters? Like, forget the team. The team is clearly untrustworthy, and it's not just the Jets. I'm not singling them out, but the team is untrustworthy on this. I could tell that he was out on his feet. He was out. And then, forget out on his feet. Maybe you missed that in the moment. You didn't see people literally lugging him into the bench? Absurd. Absolutely ridiculous. And Jets fans should be furious. Absolutely furious with their team, with the league, with everybody.
Okay, now, we've acknowledged many times on the show before that a player in Dustin Byfuglien's situation is a hard spot because they want to play, so they're going to do everything they can to get back, to pass the test, get back in and play.
That's nice. Have a seat.
Should Dustin Byfuglien? I don't think he should be faulted. Should he be pissed off that he was allowed to pass that test? Should Dustin Byfuglien say, because in the heat of the moment, and I'm all for putting the responsibility on the parties involved, but in the heat of the moment, any hockey player, any athlete's going to say, "No, I'm fine, I'm good." It's totally cool.
I'm going to ask Colby Armstrong about that because he literally did that with the Leafs.
Yeah,
he tried to hide a head injury, I believe, when he was with the team, and it was publicized, and I think it ultimately soured the relationship between the player and team.
I just wonder, is when he looks back on that, clearly the onus can't be on the player, because if it was, this wouldn't be an issue. So if the onus isn't on the player and it is on the situation, on the league and their concussion spotters, and they fail, does he have a right to be sort of pissed about that?
Well, I mean, there's some where you go, was he? I don't know. I don't blame the league for missing that. This was blatant, right? That's absurd.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Absurd is a word I use when I'm getting parental. I don't understand. I don't understand. Did you see the clip recently of I want to say it was a college football player, and they wouldn't give him his helmet back. The team's training staff would not give him his helmet back.
I haven't seen that, no.
And he's screaming at them to get back on the field, and they won't give him his helmet back because they knew his eggs got scrambled. They wouldn't let him back in the game.
I like that.
Good on them.
Good on them.
Good on them. Maybe he was totally fine.
Maybe.
But they weren't sure. And if you're not sure, don't let him play. This wasn't they bumped heads, hard collision, little accident. You see stars, which, by the way, apparently is a concussion in a lot of cases. This was a guy who is visibly out on his feet. This is a terrible, terrible miss. Really dumb. Really, really dumb. Jets fans should be furious.
And with that, let's do the press conference.
The Presser. SDP.
Whoa, Nighlander
The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
No, we didn't. Actually, Mike Babcock did say at a presser today that in his heart and in his mind, Willy's going to be a Leaf for the rest of his career. And then it was
said
funny.
that after Friedman said he's going to get traded.
Jonas Siegel said, asked if he'd spoken to William Nylander at all during the season. Babcock said yes. Asked if he'd said, come back, please. Babcock said, no, we're not begging anyone to be a Leaf. That's not what we're doing at all. It's a privilege to be here for me and for everybody else.
Interesting.
Amen to that.
But, he's going to want to recruit Willy, just like he helped recruit Tavares and any other free agent to the team.
Would you be upset? Are you going to be upset if this ends in a stalemate?
In him not signing?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
no one can convince me that that's okay.
Under what circumstance would you be upset with William, and under what circumstance would you be upset with the Leafs?
Here's the problem. There's just going to be a lot of emotion just floating out there because we're not going to get the answers we need. I doubt we're going to get Willy's number, and I doubt we're going to get the team's number, and I doubt we're going to get, this is only if, by the way, but in that situation, I don't think we're going to get the numbers. And without the numbers, it's hard to judge. It's a little hard to judge which one was being unreasonable and which one was being stubborn. So I think because the Leafs are doing well, most people are just going to opt to be mad at Willy. Right? They already are. Most of them are.
Can I be honest? And I think Brian Burke had a really good take on this. He and there's takes that Brian Burke has where I'm like, we have a generational difference there.
Yeah.
But
that's nice, Brian.
But Brian Burke did say, listen, he said, I'm tired of talking about the player, and I don't care if the player plays this year. I'm tired of talking about this. He said, but if we're talking about $300,000, and you're talking about you must make that $300,000 to put skates on for the Toronto Maple Leafs, especially given how good this Leafs team is, then at a certain point, really, what are you arguing about?
Will, come play for the Leafs. You'll make that money up. How do I know? You're in a commercial during Leafs games, and you haven't played a game this season. There's a commercial, by the way, for anyone out of the country. There's a Sonnet insurance commercial. There's 6 NHL players in this commercial. 2 of them have speaking roles.
Yeah.
They're both Leafs.
Yeah, and all they have to do is just sit there.
And he's got to hold up a green drink. Thanks, coach. That's his speaking role. Thanks, coach. I would love to know how many thousands of dollars he got for that.
I mean, he probably made his money back right there.
There it is.
I mean, this is the thing, and I think Brian Burke makes a good point. So if it comes down to it, where it's like they were $300,000 apart, William Nylander knows the Leafs situation. I don't fault William Nylander for wanting that money, but I also know that in Toronto, it's available to him. So under that circumstance, I'm a little ticked with him, and I really hope they win the Cup.
Oh, my God.
Like, if he doesn't sign, I really hope the Leafs win the Cup.
Yep. And if he does
I already hope
I
that,
really hope the Leafs win the Cup. I've decided I'm going to... Okay, so remember I said I'm going to be an asshole if the Leafs win the Cup? And then I went back on that, and I was like, no, you know what? I'm going to be insufferably nice. Nope! Asshole again! Asshole season. I'm going back to it because people are cheering for the Leafs to fail in this situation, and they're being so shitty about it. And when the Leafs win, you're going to know. I'm going to make sure you know.
But I also have to tell you, I genuinely hope he signs. I genuinely want to see him win a Cup here, and I hope Babs is right. I do want him to be a career Leaf. I want all those guys to be. Because I honestly think, here's the thing, John Tavares is in the point of his career right now where he's in his prime. And when towards the end of John Tavares' contract, he may still be a very, very good NHL player, but there's no question in his mid-30s, he'll be on the decline. Yeah. And he knows that, and the Leafs know that. And at that point, you're going to need your Matthews, your Marner, and your Nylander to be in their prime. So John Tavares will still be a great player.
While there's a $130 million cap.
Yeah, exactly. But you're going to need this player. William Nylander is a vital part of this team going forward and a vital part of the future. Despite, it's funny. I heard the guys again today, and I'm only going on this. This is kind of recent, but I heard Brian Burke again today say, "I've done the numbers 100 times. I can't see how it can work." Well, no, you haven't then, because the numbers do work. They easily work. And he said, well, you're going to have, and then he said, if you do this, then you're going to have a Joe Smith and a Todd something or other playing defense that you've never heard of. Well, fine.
They already do.
They have Igor Ozhiganov.
Who'd
heard of Nikita Zaitsev before a couple years ago?
How many free agents this upcoming summer could you pay $3 million and expect them to be better than Ron Hainsey? I'm going to go with most of them, with all due respect to this player.
Yeah.
That, to me, is the number one pressing issue with the Leafs. Is I'm assuming they get Willy back. They just got to find a better player than Ron Hainsey on the back end. They do. I think there's no reason to say that the Leafs are a top 3 team.
No.
But in that role.
SC word.
In that role.
Stanley Cup favorites.
In that role,
Stanley Cup favorites.
But if Ron Hainsey's in that role, I don't think they can be.
No, they'll get eaten alive.
And I don't think and I'm not the type of person that doesn't think Ron Hainsey should play. I think he should be playing, but I think he should be playing a limited role. And the fact that Travis Dermott, the way he's played, I mean, him catching Evander Kane the other night on a breakaway after he lost his stick, and no penalty, he pushed him off the puck, and it was hilarious to see Peter DeBoer going, "That's a penalty, Peter. Come on,
I didn't think so.
It's not." It's not a penalty.
Yeah,
what do you mean you don't think so? You know so. You know the answer to that question. Of course it's not.
So I said this in the last LFR. Because it's funny. I was going to scold Travis Dermott for taking too many penalties because he did take a penalty that led to a goal. Because that was that was a frequent complaint when he was with the Marlies. 2 this season. In 60 NHL games, he has 6 minor penalties. So
really?
Yeah, so he averages a penalty every 10 games.
Not bad.
No. The Leafs leader in penalty minutes. Who is it and how many? They've played, 26 games?
Yeah.
26 games. Josh Levo, I think, has a fight.
Jake Gardner.
No.
I don't know.
Ron Hainsey.
No.
I'm just picking the worst case scenarios.
Okay.
Nazem.
It is Nazem Kadri.
Yeah.
16
minutes.
Yes.
Oh. That's nothing.
16. The Leafs have 5 guys in double digits, and I'm pretty sure that's it. 5 or 6. Okay, like every player on the team is going to be nominated for the Lady Byng.
Yeah, they
Like,
are.
it's
They are one of the
ridiculous.
most disciplined teams in the league.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. I'm curious. I'm curious to see how this plays out because here's the thing.
Like last game, they took 3 penalties, and that's like goon squad for them.
If the Leafs, Doug McClain made a good point too. To balance out my hot takery on that show, Doug McClain made a point. He said, "Okay, so the Leafs don't sign Nylander. Okay, they lose in the first round. That's ugly," and he's right.
He is 100% right. Yeah. Okay. Any scenario where the Leafs lose in the first round this year, it's going to be ugly.
Actually, yeah, that's true. Like you can't.
This is a at least second round year.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Doesn't matter who they play in the first round either.
No.
They have to win.
not
Even
matter.
They have to
doesn't
win.
matter.
You're
Yeah.
gonna newsflash. You gotta play good teams in the playoffs. Like newsflash, you gotta beat them every year.
There's an excuse.
Every year, if you go with that mentality, you're gonna have an excuse every year. You'll never be disappointed. You cannot go forward with that mentality. You gotta think you can beat the Boston Bruins. You gotta think you can beat. Can't believe I'm gonna say this. The Buffalo Sabres. You got to believe you can beat the Tampa Bay Lightning. In a 7-game series, in the first round, you got to believe that you can beat Tampa Bay in a 7-game series in the first round and then win 3 more. Can the Leafs do that with this current decor? I don't think so. I think they could potentially win a President's Trophy with it.
They could win a first round.
They could maybe even win a first round, maybe even
come
2.
on, maybe. Okay, you didn't respond to my tweet last night, and I'm a little huffed because I
didn't have it.
You didn't have it?
I didn't have friggin' Twitter.
Okay, because I tweeted you because Jesse and I found your board game.
Okay.
It's called Worst Case Scenario Survival Guide, and
I went to Catholic school. What can I say?
I tagged you in it. You didn't
I
see
don't
it?
think he's worst case scenario though.
This is worst
right
case
now.
scenario.
Yeah.
You don't think this Leafs team?
I'm not worst case scenario because I've been screaming that Willy's going to sign for months.
You don't think that the Leafs?
The Leafs can win around.
They can confidently win a round.
They can confidently win around.
Versus any team in the National Hockey League right now, they could beat them in a 7-game series.
Assuming it's not like
See, now we go from confident to can.
They,
I think they
have
can
the
beat the
ability
Lightning.
to beat any team right
Yes.
now in 7-game
Yes.
series. But will they be the favorites in most of those? Probably not against the upper echelon teams.
They need
I don't, dude. Who are they not the favorite against? Okay, so let's
like
look
if
at the
you
division.
replace Hainsey with like Radko Gudas. Like, I think it makes all the difference in the world.
I agree.
Like, just in the same way that replacing Roman Polak with Igor
Probably get
Ozhiganov.
Radko Gudas for basically nothing right now.
I mean,
He's a pretty good player.
I just picked
He
a
makes
name.
dumb penalties,
I picked a right-handed defenseman out of a hat.
Okay, let me throw
You know
this
what
at
I
you.
mean? Like, they don't need. People are going, oh, they need like a $9 million
they don't.
all-star right-hand. No,
They have him.
Need
His name's
a
Morgan
guy.
Riley. They have Morgan Riley.
Yeah,
He's their number one guy.
Yeah, they need a guy.
So here's Jesse, to your
The
point.
Saints have trade might be nice too.
Okay, if the
I think
Leafs,
I'm done with him,
If
by
the
the way.
Leafs play Tampa and Vasilevsky's not injured
In just the Eastern Conference,
in just the Eastern Conference, where
Tampa
are they?
and Boston, the only 2 teams I would pick over the Leafs in a 7-game series. I'd probably, if I had to make a bet, I'd probably take those 2 teams
'Cause
ahead
those-
of the Leafs. Otherwise, I
Buff-
think I would cast the
Boston's
Leafs
such
as the
an
favorites.
interesting one because is Halak going to stay this hot, and is Rask going to be able to come back and be any good? Is he back?
I don't know.
That one's so interesting.
Like I don't think
No
there's
one in the
another
Metro
team.
really scares me right now. Washington.
I mean, yeah, but
Columbus is
the
always
Leafs are not
very
going to play
good.
Washington
Columbus-
in the first round.
Columbus is exactly the sort of team you don't want to play in the first round.
Yeah,
And guess who did? Washington.
and they did it.
And
And
they
they
had
won.
them,
And-
had
and-
them 2-0 in overtime.
And the big tough Blue Jackets lost to Washington, the finesse team. Interesting.
Well, see, Washington was a
They do- they
nice
do have Tom.
they were
combination.
combined.
They have Tom Wilson,
Yeah.
but who else do they have?
Devontae Smith-Pelly's heavy, and Connolly, and Ovechkin's a jeep
Yeah,
of
no,
a human
they're
being.
they're a bigger
Ovechkin's a
team.
cheap.
Yeah, he is. Their defense is big.
Even a guy like John Carlson.
Yeah, and Niskanen, like they're not goons or whatever. Is this a press conference? What was the first question?
It was from Adam, and then we kept
That was
going.
me. Sorry.
Oh, really?
It's from me. Yeah. By the way, Flyers hiring Dave Nonis.
Wait, what?
No, they haven't.
Oh.
They've discussed it. Like, okay, I don't want to be a jerk, but
be one. Jerk.
what's he done?
Was he Burke's GM in Anaheim when they won?
And he was the GM after Burke in Vancouver.
But
like
those teams did well.
They did well, but he wasn't like Mike Gillis was there for the Stanley Cup run.
Yeah, but see, every GM
I'm trying
that
to
gets fired, and then the team goes on to success can go, yeah, well, I built the foundation there. Like,
Did we not already have a whole segment on this?
Yeah, but it was Dale Talon probably.
No, Dave Nonis earlier in this show.
I didn't know, but I got it. I forgot the
not
question.
quite like that.
That's another question. Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
Let's
what
don't
has he
interrupt.
done?
We're on a roll here.
Yeah.
Okay? Jesus, Jesse.
I don't know about roll.
No, I'm just not.
More of like a square wheel
I am just
chugging along.
Listen.
Can I ask
Okay.
a question? Can I?
No, let's finish the fucking point before we
it's
move on.
the fucking point.
All right.
I'm putting on a tinfoil hat. Who threw Dave Nonis's name out there?
Interesting.
Because I'd like to know.
Something in Philly. It
I
broke this
venture
morning.
a guess.
Who would it be?
Oh, I don't know.
Brian Burke? I don't think he threw that name out there. I don't think it came from him. He didn't say it.
You got any cousins, Adam?
Do I have any cousins?
Yeah.
Sure.
That's just a question.
Okay, well, we'll see. I don't think so, man. I mean, that's super tinfoil hat. Anyway, Jesse, first question.
No.
Oh, you wanted us to go to the press conference, not even ready with the first question. Jesse Blake, everyone.
This is from Astromaster
Stupid idiot.
13. Would you rather have all of the Stroms or all of the Reinhardts?
Okay, so you got Dylan and Ryan Strome, 2 top 10 picks.
Sam?
And you got Sam Reinhardt, Griffin Reinhardt, and there's another one. Couldn't be as good, I guess.
There is another Reinhardt,
There isn't.
though.
I want to say he was a 4th round pick.
Wasn't there? There's a Reinhardt in Calgary, right? So there's. Who is he?
Might have been in Calgary.
He's in Calgary.
Yeah.
And he was supposed to be good.
I think you're. Well, they're all supposed to be good, right? Jared Stahl, the best one.
Max Reinhardt.
Max
right?
Reinhardt.
Who was he a draft pick of?
He's an unrestricted free agent right now.
But wait,
He was a
He's on the Flames in that
he was
picture.
64th overall, 2010 by the Calgary Flames.
wow. So he would have been the first one.
Oh, 3rd round.
No, well, the first one's their father, Paul Reinhardt,
Oh,
who
I said.
who played for the Flames,
Flames?
and Canucks.
Was Max Reinhardt
Flames,
on the
Flames,
Kootenay ice of the WHL? I think he was in that Memorial Cup I saw in
He was in the WHL. He was on the Kootenay Ice.
There you go.
There you go. 2011.
Ooh. Okay, so Sam Reinhardt, I think, is the best player. But Griffin Reinhardt's in the minors right now. Dylan Strome's still got a big old bunch of potential, and Ryan Strome is at very least an NHL player. I'm going to go with Mystery Box, the Stromes. Always pick the Mystery Box.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Stromes, too, just because I think 2 of them are already better than the Reinhardts.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, not Sam.
Well, not Sam, but like you've got 2 players that are good, and then you've got Sam and then the rest of the family.
You got to front
Is
load your
Griffin
team.
even playing the NHL?
No, he's in the A.
Yeah.
For like 4th overall pick.
Yeah, and you've got 2 Stromes. Yeah, no.
All right, so we've both settled on the Stroms, right? You guys.
Stroms.
So
Stroms.
would you rather have the Stroms or the Chucks?
Oh, Chucks.
The Chucks.
all day.
All right.
All day.
All right.
I would take their dad if he would strap on skates still.
Whoa.
All right, so now we've leveled up to the Chucks. Would you rather have the Chucks or the Subans?
Whoa. Oh. So Jordan, who's in the minors.
Malcolm.
I don't even know if he's playing every night. Malcolm, I don't know if he's got a win yet with Vegas. And PK, obviously.
I mean, I would say PK now, but I would want the Chucks in the future.
You know what? I say Chucks.
Man,
Now
imagine
I'm saying it wrong because of you. I take the Kachucks. Dude, Matthew is unbelievable.
Yeah,
this
he
season. He's so good.
And he's such a
Brady is
pest.
better than I think people even thought.
Yeah.
You know, I've been criticizing the Sens.
Malcolm, by the way,
What?
859 in 4 games started, 4 starts. Yeah, so there you go. No wins. Continue.
That's not good. And then Marc-Andre Fleury has like 5 shutouts. It's absurd.
That's crazy.
Just call the podcast absurd.
So you picked the
I picked the Kachucks.
Kachucks.
I'm going to go Subban.
You're picking the Subans? All right.
You get the best player.
Best player right now. That was the thing. If it's right now, if I'm building a franchise, it's Kachucks all day. But if it's right now on my team, best player is by far PK.
If they're playing against each other, the Kachucks don't have a goalie. So,
well, it's not 3-on-3. It's just on your team.
This is working.
I know.
All right.
I picked the Kachucks.
So, Kachucks? Well, you picked the Subban. No, you picked
Well,
Subban.
just
Kachucks.
now we're going 3-way.
All right. Kachucks, Subans, or Stalls.
Okay, so we got Jordan, Mark, Erik, and Jared. Now,
Yes.
Kachucks. I'd still take the Kachucks.
Ooh.
Jordan Stahl's like, what, second, third line center?
Mm-hmm.
Erik Stahl's like second. Mark Stahl, how much is he even playing anymore?
Oof,
I don't think he's playing. I mean, he's playing, but
And it's on the Rangers. And Jared Stahl, I think, is in
maybe
the minors.
5 years ago I take the Stalls, but I'm going Subban.
Don't forget, Erik Stahl
was great
had
last year.
Sure.
42 goals, 34 assists, 76 points last year.
He
Erik
had
Stahl.
42 goals last season. What's
saw-
he at now?
9 goals in 24 games.
That's still pretty good.
Similar
How many
pace.
points?
9 assists, 18 points.
Wow.
Yeah. Stahl's still got it.
I still go with the Kachucks. Adam?
I am going to go with Subban.
Still going with the
Yep.
Subans.
Yep.
All right.
Oh, fanboy.
Mark Stahl is still playing for the Rangers, by the way.
How's that going?
26 games, 5 points.
All right.
He has more goals than Duncan Keith. Meaning 1.
So every week, Andrew Berkshire writes an article just answering general questions, and I always get to ask the question for it, or a question for it. And this week's is Duncan Keith just bad now?
What's the answer?
I don't think he's answered it yet. No, it's such a complicated answer, though, because all his numbers are going to be poor compared to 2 or 3 years ago. But the team's clearly getting bad around him. But is him declining, is that part of the reason the Blackhawks are doing poorly? You know what I mean? He also, Berkshire did say, I don't know if he's going to put this in the article, I never would have called Keith declining more rapidly than Weber.
Yeah, right?
Never.
I asked the same question of someone we mutually know this week, and they said that he has taken a step back, but a lot of it is the systems and the Hawks around him. I think, you know what? I know Duncan Keith's got 5 years left on his contract, but Duncan Keith is only making $1 million more than Nikita Zaitsev, to put that in perspective.
Don't feel bad.
If that's a guy that you could, I mean, the Hawks would never trade him, but if that's a guy that you could pull off them, that's a pretty good second pairing guy for your team.
Oh my God! Can you imagine?
Like-
No way! Wow,
Not
that's
for the
an
Leafs.
interesting
Not for the
one.
Leafs. I don't think the Leafs would get him, but I mean, you could maybe. But that's there's an inexpensive, probably an inexpensive trade to make and an inexpensive guy to have on your team. Philly, they are crazy
Go
enough.
for it. Get Duncan Keith on the Flyers. Hell yeah!
With Gostisbehere and Provorov.
We gotta end the podcast here. We gotta just let people think that.
You want to end the podcast on how Adam was wrong about Iowa?
Oh, was I wrong about Iowa? Not really.
Yeah.
I want to watch the Thank You Next video because it's finally out.
It wasn't out before?
No. The song's been out, but the video's not out. They've just been teasing it, so I'm ready to watch it.
She does a Bring It On parody and
Mean Girls parody.
And
Kris Jenner's in it.
and Kris Jenner's
'Cause she's the mom.
cool mom.
Yeah.
She's not a regular mom. She's a cool mom. Ariana Grande.
Just read the thing.
Thank You, Hex, by the way, is our best title ever.
I
Steven.
was so mad that the audio didn't work because I'm like, no, that's a work of art. Thank you, Hexed. Hello. Thank you, Retupect.
Can you, right now, on the spot, top that title and name this episode?
Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Brought to you by Panago Pizza. Order at panago.com and stuff your face with deliciousness.